I got a new couch, which is just like so good that it's almost impossible to be uncomfortable in it.
With this movie, you can be nothing but uncomfortable. Oh Lord. Okay,
so we just saw Licorice Pizza. Scoot over a little. We're a little off center. There we go. Yeah.
I'm so mad.
Every now and then, a movie comes out that just gets like sterling reviews across the board, and I just don't understand.
King Richard.
But then like there are movies that come out where it gets sterling reviews across the board, and I'm like concerned.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Because it's one thing to, not understand why a bunch of people like a movie. It's another thing to wonder why a bunch of people are just okay with something really not okay in a movie.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. How do you want to... Do you want to just...
Pedophilia.
I mean, they don't fuck.
Yet.
But yeah, I didn't expect Paul Thomas Anderson to go down the Michael Bay path.
Yeah. This is a case where I wanted to give a benefit of a doubt, because I've been hearing some things, some rumblings, and some people say like, this is grooming pedophilia. And the other one's like, oh, I don't know how you got that message out of it. And then I was like, okay, I'll see for myself and figure out what it is. Nope, it was the former, and I don't know what the latter's fucking talking about. Sorry.
That's infuriating.
This movie.
Like, there are points in this movie where it gives you a little bit of hope that it's actually going to do the right thing, and...
It doesn't.
Yeah. No, there's points where it's like, oh, there's like a conflict growing between them, because, especially near the end, there's this, like, the third act is pretty much about them, like, her starting to realize that she has very different priorities from him in life and what she wants to do and where she wants to go. But, like...
No, doesn't matter.
Yeah, just gonna...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's... I mean, spoiler alert. Why not? Just for the end of the movie, because I just want to, like...
Fuck it. I don't care.
Spoiler alert. They get together in the end. They do. They do.
They're not like, oh, they're just as friends saying, no, they kiss. They make it official.
They kiss, and the last line of the last shot of the movie is him running and her holding his hand as she's, like, half dragged behind him and gazing him dreamily and saying, I love you, Gary. And it was so insipid and saccharine, and I don't understand the justification. It's... The whole movie, the whole point of the movie is that from the start of the movie, the very beginning of the movie, it makes a point to the fact that he sees her, he starts hitting on her, and she's like, you're 15, I'm 25. This is weird. I'm not gonna, like, go out with you on a date. That's, like, illegal. This isn't cool. And the whole story of the movie is this kid basically winning her over. And...
Yeah, and... in a very incel-y kind of entitled way.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, is this just teenage wish fulfillment?
Yeah.
Is that this whole fucking movie? It's showing like age is just a number, not here.
It does this
fucking
thing.
Gross.
It does this thing like it has it in the trailer for a moment. Where she's like he's mad because she's willing to get nude in movie roles. He takes her to like a thing where she can submit her application for film roles, and she does, and in the interview she says that she's willing to get topless when she's asked, and he gets mad at her on the way home because she won't show him her boobs, but she'll show the whole world her boobs in a movie, and he gets really pissed off about it, and she she
gets mad about it, and then she does it.
Yeah, she gets mad about it, and then she stomps back over to his house and shows him her tits. And
And these people...
he wins. He wins by being a shitty little persistent incel that, like... I mean, he's not really an incel. He gets fucking, like... there are a bunch of girls that are attracted to him his age, but he doesn't want them. He wants her. And there's so many points where, like, initially, she's not really into him, but then... he goes and like starts hitting on, like they've based out into like a decent friendship, and I was like, oh, this is healthy. Okay, this isn't that bad. But then,
and then there's I don't even then I would say like it's always
it was weird,
creepy level, like right from the get go.
Cause there's the thing that really got to me, like the first part of the movie that like the whole thing was creepy, but like. The first part that really got to me was when somehow this kid, like, I get that he has been in a few, like, bit roles in films and stuff, but it doesn't make sense that he just has all of this money at his disposal. It doesn't make sense that he's able to rent out a store. He's able to rent out a storefront and start a business?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
And what? I guess it's signed under her name or something, because she's the one who's of age to be able to do that shit, but... Like, it's not that easy. Maybe it was back then. I don't fucking know. But somehow they have the resources and ability to open their own business together. So they do. It's a waterbed business, and they're trying to sell the feeling of, like, being on the ocean and all this shit. So, of course, he goes to be the salesman, and her, even though she's the manager, is out there in fucking high heels and a bikini.
Yeah.
And... the first thing he does is go, wow, you look great, and just, like, circles around her and leers at her, and she's like, oh, really, I look good? And, like, it's
fucking gross.
It's this whole thing where she is a woman in her mid-20s, and I understand people being insecure and needing validation, especially, like, women, especially back then. It's just what our society... negs them into doing and trains them to do. So unless they've had any way to learn better or be raised to have more confidence in themselves or have those role models, like, I get it. They're more vulnerable and stuff in those kinds of situations, especially in, like, shit that preys on them like that. But for this movie to basically be validating him using that kind of insecurity to... seduce her when he's 15.
Yep.
He's 15.
Yep. And it doesn't get better from there.
It's... oh yeah, and during the opening, he hits it off with another girl his own age, because he's basically given up on hitting on her, and she gets jealous.
Yep.
She gets jealous and, like, tries to interrupt them talking and pull him away from it, and then she gets high and tries hitting on him, but he's pissed off at that point, and he's hitting off with another girl, so, like, he goes off to that, and she gets insecure and goes off and starts doing some shit, and, like, this, I don't know why this had to be between a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old. This would have made sense as, like, a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. Yeah. It would have worked. And, you know, there's plenty of, like, shitty, misogynistic shit that happens to her, but there's no comeuppance for it.
Nope.
There's no, like... There's nothing about it that, you know, there was this fucking dumbass sitting a few seats over from us that, you know, there's one point earlier in the movie where she just gets slapped on the ass by the guy she's working for, and he was like, like, yeah, fucking sexual assault by your employer. Real funny. That's the punchline. There's no fucking bigger point to it.
Nope. And none of it goes anywhere. It meanders, and it's just pointless. And
it is a long movie.
And it just, there's so many tangents and things that go nowhere, and things that don't come back, and things that have no consequence on the rest of the plot. All of it, if it does anything, it's supposed to make you care about this couple that you don't care about, because one is a literal child. And...
who's kind of annoying.
It was an annoying little dipshit, who is just... just an awful human being to everyone and everything. Who is an open scam artist at certain points.
Aside from that, like,
he's
just a shit-headed little boy.
He's a child.
And he displays a lot of the same fucking, like, especially later in the movie, where I don't know if he's just saying it because he's mad or something, but she basically says, like, there's a bigger world out there. It's not just, like, you and everything in your orbit. Like
yes, it is.
And he says, yes, it is. Why not? It's just, like, why not? It's all about me. Why can't it be? And it is such... He is such an egotist. Like, it's... God, it's baffling. It's baffling. And she's not really that much better. Like, she's kind of just her own little whirlwind of insecurity and
bad decisions.
And bad decisions and her
Terrible
own little
decisions.
rage against other people in her world. And yeah, she lives in a suffocating home environment. I get that. But again, why'd she have to be 25?
Yep. They could have easily made her 17, but for some reason, like, the director had this, I don't know, creepy agenda he needed to pass across. It feels like that Louis C.K. movie that was never released, like, right before the allegations came out.
No, that was worse. But, like...
But you get what I mean, though. It's like, it feels like, I don't know what the director has done or wants to do, but I'm massively concerned now.
He's a 51-year-old man who basically thought, I want my next movie to be about a 15-year-old seducing a 25-year-old, despite her knowing better at first. I want her to just say, like, no, that's wrong. And then I want to basically validate every fucking person who sees, like, a story about a fucking teacher fucking a student and goes, like, good for him. Like, that's the fucking stance I get out of this. This is fucking reprehensible.
Yeah.
And it's so boring. Yeah. Everything that the movie thinks is so clever, it's not. It's, first off, it's hard to get behind these characters in the first place.
Yeah.
They're deeply unlikable. But then, like, it's not as funny as it thinks it is.
Nope.
It's not good.
It's not clever, it's not well paced, it's not well written, it's meanders and meanders and meanders and there are points if there was we didn't have people crowd full of like people behind us, I would be like, for God's sake, have a point.
Yeah,
like,
no,
have a fucking point to anything you're doing right now. And it doesn't. It just happens and it's gone and it never comes back up again.
It has the two of them wandering through a variety of situations that affects them personally or their relationship with each other in a certain way. And that's the only thing unifying those things.
And you're just waiting for something to have a consequence.
Yeah.
And it never comes.
No, there's some weird shit that happens through the movie where, like, something happens with a side character, but it never follows through. It's just like, oh, look what a silly thing happened. And it never follows up. And there was one scene with a truck about 2/3 of the way through the movie, which was actually reasonably suspenseful.
And then nothing comes of it.
And then, yeah, it just fucking ends, and you're like, alright, well, I guess that was a scene. Technically, it's a scene, and it's just a bunch of scenes strung together to make a movie.
I mean, to be fair, I did get the only laugh out of us in the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, no, okay.
And that was mostly Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper playing that character is kind of a hoot sometimes, but other times it's just like, alright, cool. I mean, there's just... I'm...
Fuck this movie.
How entertaining is it to have a man just asserting his alphaness over a teenager and just being like, you know how much I get laid? You know how much... Do you know how much tail I get? I get all of it. All of it's mine. It's my tail. It's like... I get all the tail.
It goes on for that for like 10 minutes. Or at least what feels like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's probably more like 2 minutes, but it's just... It's pointless. It's the whole Barbra Streisand bit that's in the trailer. It's not funny. It's not funny, and the whole conversation is on that level of like, why is this
still going
here?
And like, I know right now I'm gonna get defenders of this fucking movie in the comments. So.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like they're saying like, oh, you just didn't understand it, or like that wasn't really what it was about. I was like, motherfucker, they made it explicit.
I understand it's a kid. I understand it's a kid, and I understand the language of movies, and the fucking fact that this movie decided to portray all of these things as super romantic. It decided to portray their interactions and the budding romance between them as a romance.
Yep.
Not as a like, ooh, this is not a good idea and they're gonna learn better at the end. They don't learn better at the end.
Nope.
It is like, when they finally get there, it's like, yay!
It is played straight, it is played sincere, it plays every beat of these kind of romance, even like the all is lost moment about 2/3 of the way through.
Dude.
Which, again, doesn't even fucking go anywhere because she just goes straight back to him with no consequence anyway.
The sad thing is, like, I really fucking love Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, so do I.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And the problem is that there were, especially there were moments where the lens flare and the lighting from the background was reminiscent of that movie. And there's certain beats in this movie which, like, kind of feel, like, you can tell they're from the same filmmaker in that sense. But this has none of the subtlety or wholesomeness of that movie. There's something inherently shitty about this movie all the way through.
Yeah, like it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth from beginning to end, and I do not understand what people are getting out of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of over-sexualization of her in the movie. There's like
to a gross degree.
Yeah, there's a shot near the beginning of the movie where she just lays back on her bed and she's in a short skirt and the camera's angled just enough so you can kind of see her crotch.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Why couldn't you have done like...
And her nipples are always like poking out through
Dude,
something.
she's wearing so many shirts where you can see her fucking nipples.
Yep.
It's weird. It's on the fucking poster. That's weirded me out this whole fucking time. The fact that every time you go, you see this young woman with her fucking nipples out. And like... And it's you don't have to do that. It's a choice.
Yeah, and it's Jesus Christ. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in the Kane Rich review to a worse degree, because it feels like this is validating somebody's worldview.
Yeah.
Like,
no, this is very much saying that like this kid is right to ignore her. It goes back to, first off, love at first sight bullshit. Second off, the persistence pays off bullshit.
Yep.
Third off, like, ignoring fucking the fact that he's a minor. Like, the whole movie is based around saying, fuck that, this is romance. Fuck you! No.
And it's played 100... And again, like, I can... I don't want to say, like, if you're gonna do this horrible concept idea to begin with, at the very least, like, have the moral ambiguity be there, and like, hey, he's still a fucking kid. You should not be fucking doing this.
Yeah.
But instead it's like, oh, look how they're romantic, and you should want them to be together, and it's sad they're not together right now. And
yeah.
And it never leaves that note. That no matter how shitty either one of them are being, especially him.
And he is portrayed as being really smart and savvy. His business ideas do really fucking well. He only has a couple in the movie, but he knows how to make money. He knows how to sell to adults. He knows how to have a successful business as a 15-year-old.
And this is somebody's wish fulfillment fantasy.
Yeah, no, there's something
the more
really...
we talk about this, the more it becomes like, this is somebody's wish fulfillment fantasy.
Yeah.
And the fact that so many people like it tells me that it's way more common than I like to think it is.
Yeah, I'm really gonna... I would really like to see... You know, if Rotten Tomatoes just did this thing where not only did it have, like, the positive-negative split, but also, like, men and women split.
Yeah, right.
Really want to see, like, if we just go through all the reviews, let's see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is from just the men and what the Rotten Tomatoes score is from just the women.
And I also want to know, like, how many people are just sucking Paul Thomas Anderson's dick.
I don't know, man. Like, he has a lot of detractors and he has a lot of fans. I could go either way. Like, his movies have been hit or miss for me. Again, I really love Punch Drunk Love. I could take or leave Magnolia. Like, I know,
like, Inherent Vice, neither one of us really good.
No, I fucking loved Inherent Vice.
Oh, did you like that one?
Yeah, remember, I enjoyed the shit out of that
It was
movie.
a long time ago.
I really loved that. Honestly, that movie holds up.
That was pretty
great.
I haven't watched it again. I haven't watched it restart.
It's worth a rewatch.
I might
Josh
watch
Brolin is amazing in it.
That's right, he is. I forgot about Josh Brolin in that movie. Anyway,
but
like, I don't know. I'm starting to notice a pattern in Paul Thomas Anderson movies where he's just relationships, where they're just always just a little uncomfortable between, like, this and Phantom Thread.
I didn't see Phantom Thread.
I haven't seen it, but I know enough about it that it's basically about just her poisoning him so she can take care of him, and he's kind of into
Munchausen?
it. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then he's kind of into it.
Okay. Ew. Well,
yeah.
in any case,
it's like Paul Thomas Anderson's insanely unhealthy view of relationships, I think, is where I'm going with this.
Consenting adults and all that, I guess.
And no, she does it unwillingly at first, and then he kind of figures it out at the end, and then he's okay with it.
All right. So it's like he learns to love it after being forced into it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
a pattern.
something inherently like gross and misogynistic about this movie.
Yep.
It's just really fucking gross. And really, honestly, like, if you switched the genders in this...
Yep, I was gonna bring that up too, because like I was actually talking to some friends about this today, because I was telling them I had to see this movie, and I was like, I'm a little concerned, like, well, it might not be this, like, general rule of thumb, if you switch the genders and it's a lot creepier, you have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a case, like, if this 25-year-old woman was a 25-year-old man actively flirting with a 15-year-old girl,
Yeah.
everyone would pan this movie. But because of Phil's a very specific male fantasy, it gets a pass.
Yeah.
And like that's still why That's My Boy is still the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know about that part.
That's My Boy.
No, I know about the existence of the movie and how much you hate it, but...
The concept of the movie is about a 12-year-old student who gets seduced by his teacher. This is played for laughs. He impregnates her at 12. This is also played for laughs.
Wait, what? I thought this was about Andy Samberg fucking...
And he becomes famous for it.
What?
That child grows up to be Andy Samberg.
Oh.
That's the concept. That's My Boy.
I did not know that.
That's why it's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh.
So
Okay.
you can always say it could be worse. But it's sad that there's a bar.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's... Learned multiple upsetting things tonight about movies. Bottom line with this movie, it's just not cool.
Nope.
It's not cool. It's uncomfortable. It's and on top of all of that, like, it's boring.
Yep.
It's really, really boring.
There's
And
nothing here to recommend.
And it's fascinating how many people are just really loving this movie, because I do not get it.
Neither do I.
I don't get it at all.
I'm sure we can get smug assholes gonna try to explain it to me.
No, I mean, like...
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care. Like, I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested. I don't care.
I'm interested to see exactly how they try to defend it, and because, you know, when people try to defend things like this, it's really fascinating how quickly they tell on themselves.
Oh yeah. Like, just look at the King Richard review.
Oh man.
Some of the comments I got on that one.
No, it's I've had arguments with people about, like, why you shouldn't say hit children. And it always comes back to, like, well, my parents hit me, and I'm like, I'm fine. And I'm like, bro.
Are you though? Are you really?
Are you sure? Are you sure?
What did your therapist say? Oh, you don't have one. Okay, red flag, run.
You're 30 and you take tickets at the fucking county fair. Like, something happened there. Maybe you would have done a little better if your parents hadn't beaten you. But somehow it's just they turn into something personal, because they see an attack on these kinds of things that they relate to, a personal attack on them. And really, honestly, sometimes, yeah, it's an attack. If you think this movie's okay, you need to change some shit, bro. Like, that's wrong. That's wrong. You should, no.
Yeah, this is gonna be on the worst list.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
That's a late end of the year addition to that list. That's wow. Didn't expect another contender so strong on that list.
The funny thing is, I feel like it's gonna be the fastest worst of list you and I have ever done, because I feel like our top 5 is gonna be almost identical.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's gonna. I know King Richard's gonna be on yours, and I haven't watched it yet, so
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to.
It's looking likely that I will.
But like, I think our top 3 is definitely gonna be the same.
I know for a fact our top 2 are the same.
Okay.
Like, if we're counting this one,
King Richard beat this for top 3?
No, God, no.
So this would be 3rd, right?
This would probably be 3rd.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
our top 3 is going to be the same. It's pretty fascinating how that worked out. So,
And we did it together.
Yay. Didn't expect 3 movies this year to come out.
So morally reprehensible.
Yeah, I was literally about to use the exact same turn of phrase. Morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
No, didn't expect 3 movies this year to be so, like, baseline ethically wrong.
And
like,
sociopathic.
It's kind of astonishing.
Like, because every time it's like, there's no way you can get more offense for this. And so far, no one's topped the first one.
It hasn't gotten more, but we also haven't expected other things to, like, fall within the same ballpark.
It's like, it's like just different categories of just offensive.
Yeah, I know, they managed to, like, match up pretty well.
There's a weird spectrum this year of just the most offensive shit.
I like how we agree on how offensive each one is relative to each other. That's kind of interesting. So, you know.
Oh, God damn it.
Honestly, if this was more aggressively bad, I think it may have beaten Dear Evan Hansen. But Dear Evan Hansen was just so hilariously poorly executed. This was just boring that I think like that's what tipped it over.
If Bradley Cooper at one point just went words.
No, if Bradley Cooper was playing the 15-year-old.
That'd be kind of funny then.
No, exactly. That's why Dear Evan Hansen was kind of funny, even if it was horrifying for a lot of it. But
sitting there and just like in that truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, fuck this movie. We hate it.
Bye.